this morning and for the agency's leadership in implementing these important pieces of legislation. I think you captured it correctly. We are making a record level of investment in the United States to unleash an unprecedented level of private sector investment so we can win the innovation and opportunity war, I guess, of the future, and to also make our grid more secure. And while, you know, we hear a lot of different things here this morning, the bottom line is, I know you were intimately involved in the aftermath of the Colonial Pipeline, so I know that you've been on the front lines of this fight. And so this is about strengthening both our resiliency and building a system that makes the United States economy more secure. So I appreciate your leadership on that. One thing I wanted to ask about, we were able to author and include the $2.5 billion transmission facility program as part of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So that helps support the establishment of microgrids and updating transmission lines. And we also, the forthcoming anchor tenant contract aspect of this to try to make sure that we were enabling the kinds of development that we think is so essential for a more secure, smarter grid. And that's everything on fire and helping us with more intelligent responses to fire. It's helping with, as I said, on moving energy around more effectively. So the deadlines for those proposals was just yesterday, February 1st. Can you share any initial assessment, and do you anticipate a second round of those RFPs in 2023?
Well, thank you, Senator. Let me thank you for your leadership, not only for that particular provision, your focus on grids and transmission for many, many years, but also your leadership in the Science Committee as well. As we're deploying and demonstrating, we've got to keep our eye on innovation and science in our national labs, and you've just been a phenomenal leader. So just want to appreciate that. This transmission facilitation program, $2.5 billion, this is a big, big deal. I'm not sure people appreciate how important this is as part of the overall package of what we're doing. Part one did close just yesterday, and we're moving into part two. And I am very pleased with how things are moving along that program, and happy to get into depth as helpful as appropriate going forward. But
so you think there'll be a second round?
So there'll be a second phase of this. A lot of what we're doing here to try to make sure we're spending this money as wisely as we possibly can is having a part one and a part two, similar to what we're doing on the hydrogen hubs, where we have a concept paper and then ask for much more fleshed out information. We're trying to move deliberately along those lines.
Okay. So you just don't know if that's 2023 or not, is what you're saying?
We'll move as quickly as we can, but again, doing it right.
Well, I appreciate that. Or I'm just, trying to get a picture of how we're doing on that. So, but you like the projects, and that's important. And I mean, you're seeing quality investments is, I guess, my question.
We're seeing quality investments, and the need here is just immense. One data nugget for this and the importance of transmission, and I know you understand this, Senator, and I think a lot of your colleagues do as well. All of the climate benefits that we get out of the bill and the Inflation Reduction Act, if we can't improve the rate of transmission build out in our country, we lose 80% of those climate benefits. So just to underscore how important transmission is in this program in particular.
Exactly. Thank you for making that point. That's exactly why we did it, because the transformation needs to include the grid. And if you don't make the grid smarter, more capable, you're not going to be able to implement any of it.
Absolutely.
So you can't spend the money on electric vehicles and then not have a grid that's capable of the intelligence required. Okay, let me turn to hydrogen. You know, one of the provisions there in the bill was how can we accelerate the use of hydrogen, both as a energy storage medium and to power transportation, and particularly certain more areas that are difficult to decarbonize. And one of the provisions was to produce and deploy benefits from green hydrogen. So on the production side, our region is obviously blessed with abundant carbon-free hydropower, and we serve, we already have several what I would call hydrogen fuel production facilities, and more are in the development, and wanted to hear what you are thinking as it relates to I mean, this is so important for us in the Northwest because we're already a big transportation area. So we, you know, we want a robust freight network. We want our maritime ports, you know, these applications. We continue to be a big driver. The agricultural sector alone on driving down fertilizer costs, like key issue. So what, the infrastructure bill included $8 billion to establish regional clean hubs, and one, at least, that is produced from renewable energy. So what are you guys thinking? What should applicants be thinking about as it relates to this particular program? I mean, can you describe how the department is thinking about this issue?
Yeah, happy to do it. And just as you said, the opportunity space here for us on hydrogen, whether it's in the Northwest or Louisiana or many parts of our country, is just huge. And this can be part of not only our solution here in the U.S. to decarbonize hard-to-decarbonize sectors, but there's also a global race going on right now to develop hydrogen technologies and to be the manufacturing hub of the world for these technologies as well. So as I mentioned in my opening, we have a phenomenal opportunity in front of us. The $8 billion in hydrogen hubs, $7 billion of which we have in a first tranche. We had proposals from all across the country, and what we decided to do there is have a shorter concept paper, and now we're in the stage of encouraging 33 of those applications, and we discouraged an additional 46 of those applications to try to give them an early signal before too much work is done that this is meeting the criteria to get the most out of this money as part of the overall hydrogen solution. We now are going over those more detailed applications. April 7th is when those are due, and we'll be able to fully look at those, and we're hoping to get the funding. We're going to get the funding out by the end of this year, so we're moving quite quickly on that front. But that's just one part of our hydrogen strategy. We've got $750 million, and green hydrogen is very much part of that $7 billion. We also have $750 million to drive the cost down of electrolyzers, which are what makes green hydrogen work, and we have incredibly potent tax incentives for hydrogen, especially green hydrogen production. That's part of the Treasury tax regulations. All of these things work together.
Thank you. I know I'm out of time, Mr. Chairman, but if I could just get further, I'll follow up with you, but I want to talk to you about the Advanced Nuclear Demonstration Project, particularly in our state. So thank you so much. And I just say WSU, Washington State University, is doing great work on hydrogen. It's amazing what we're going to unleash. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cassidy.
Thank you, Mr. Turk. Mr. Turk, when one of your coworkers here, Mr. Crane, when one of your coworkers, Mr. Crane, was